Fine.
My name is Viviana Hernandez, and I grew up in Rose Park here in Salt Lake City. My background with water. I grew up on a swim team at the Northwest Rec Center, and that was huge. My brother, my cousins, we would go all the time. It was kind of a pain, but it was a foundation of being comfortable with water. So after raft guiding in Utah for several summers, I got into a lot of trouble. So decided to go expatriate, and I went to Ecuador with a small rafting outfitter that was in Tena, which is kind of the base for all of the Amazon trips. I made kind of the transition from raft guiding to kayaking, and that changed my whole life, fixed all the problems I'd ever had, it seemed like, as far as, you know, just keeping a psychological clarity. But I've always thought that water is the truth about life. It is life, and it's taught me about what is real, consequences, and I think maybe most importantly, progress and learning and seeing the changes inside of you that happen when you're actually getting better at something. So memories with the Jordan River, definitely one of the first and most important ones was old canoe. You know, it was amazing just to see a canoe, and you see it, and as a kid, you know what it's for. Me and my brother and my cousin, we carried the canoe to the river, which is about 1.5 blocks behind our house, and we put it in the water, and we got in it, and we went down the river. And the river is, you know, it's the Jordan River. It's spooky. You see all sorts of things dumped in there. As a kid, you hear, stories about dead bodies being in there. And we went down the river, and you'd see piles of trash, and that is spooky and kind of scary, just seeing little floating landfills. But we did it, and it was awesome, just to be on a liquid surface. That in itself is, it's a whole. You're not on land anymore. And that was so cool, and it was kind of leaky, and that was adventurous, and it was everything you imagined it could be as far as an adventure goes. It was like a parade, taking that canoe to the river, and I'll never forget it. When I was a teenager, just getting angry and wanting to escape, it was so perfect just to go out there, and the water gets so dark and it's still so calming. Me and my brother and my cousins went to Rose Park Elementary, and our mascot was the raccoons. It was Rose Park raccoons. And I'll always remember a night that I went out to the river just angry and frustrated being a teenager, and saw the biggest raccoon of my entire life. It was the size of a dog out there by the river, and that was awesome. And we'd always, the raccoons are urban animals. I felt like it was my spirit animal or something, but it's just a giant raccoon. I've seen foxes out there too by the golf course, wild foxes. And so I know they're out there, and their struggle is real, but they're making it happen, and they have, they've made it generation after generation. The foxes and the raccoons and the beavers I've seen as well, and lots of muskrats. I think I'm pretty familiar with that discussion of how to diversify the outdoor scene, which I think is actually so funny, because when you talk about indigenous people, the first thing you think about is their connection with nature. That's what I think about. I know these campaigns are trying to get more women and more brown people in the outdoor scene. Outdoor recreation is an industry that is aimed at people with a lot of money for a lot of gear. But the outdoors is for everyone, especially homeless people. They know very, very well what it takes to go camping outside. Here in the United States, there's a veil that is, I think, put over the eyes of poor kids. I think we all have a little bit of rebelliousness in us, and I think you have to use it to defy the media. You can get in there, you can follow your nose, and nature is for everybody. It's the best thing that we have as humans is the earth. And being a minority, I've always thought was an advantage. It's made people curious about me. And, if we're gonna use stereotypes, you can use them to your advantage. And I've always thought that I paddle way more savage than most. I have a much higher tolerance for risk than other people I've seen. I think it's because I have been in trouble in society and know how to come back from a beat down. I think it comes in the very beginning with realizing that no one can deny you access. It is your right as a human.